Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to a new series. It's not really anything fancy, though, is it? I've just called it Breakfast with You because I'm going to do this at 10 o'clock every Sunday. So every Sunday from now on, 10 a.m, I'm going to sit down with a cup of tea and then we're going to have a quick chat about the latest news and rumours around West Ham. It's like a short form of a cup of tea with you and Gonzo. So there's not much discussion as so on. It's just a quick snap one. Me and Gonzo are going to do this as like a patron series around match day, but we still are, just that there's no matches. So I said to Charlie and Gonzo, basically we should start something on non-match days every week, and they both said, well, go on then. So here we are. It depends on what the day is as to what the content is. So today we'll just look at news and rumours, but if it's the morning after a game, we'll take a look at the game. If it's the morning of a game, we'll look ahead to the game, won't we? Even if I'm in London, this is where it'll be a bit more fun. If I'm in London for a home game on the Sunday, I'll be in the pub with some people. I might have guests on during the series. I don't know. I'll just make it up as I go along. So today is anniversary day, isn't it? We've got 40 years since we won the FA Cup against Arsenal. I've seen lots of clips about that. I wasn't born. I didn't exist back then. Doesn't mean I can't enjoy it. But it's hard. I find it hard to there's no... You can watch it with pride, but that's all you get, really, because I wasn't there. There's no other emotions that come seeping out my body. Whereas if I look at stuff to do with the last game at Upton Park, which is 4 years today as well, that anniversary is today, I get a lot more triggers in my body, if that makes sense, because I experienced it. I was there. I want to do a video with Gonzo about the last ever game at Upton Park, because we are passing to wind and they went the wrong way again. So I want to do a video specifically about it. I'm not going to go into it too much, but those that were at the FA Cup final in 1980, let us know your memories in the comments below after in the video, because I've been on Twitter, I've been reading people that were there, I've been reading their sort of experiences or memories, and it brings a smile to my face. I enjoy it. I get a feel-good factor reading stuff like that. So share your memories, your experiences, and your last day at Upton Park as well, but I'd rather you kept them for the video we do about the last day at Upton Park. Brady's Son column went up on late Friday night yesterday, and I had a little read of it. It's much the same as to what's going on in the Premier League in general. The Project Restart is based around that. She's saying about how the grass has to be disinfected and stuff, but the interesting thing I noticed, she put a little comment in towards the end, which was clubs down the bottom of the Premier League aren't going to have the luxury, she called it a luxury, as to basically not force players back. And now she didn't say West Ham. In fact, earlier on in the article would suggest the opposite, which was she spoke to every single player and they're not going to force any players back. But she then alluded later on that some clubs are perhaps going to have to do just that. They're going to have to say to the star players, essentially, you need to come back because we're fighting relegation here. That's a bit of a worry. I guess it is expected, but as long as that's not our club's stance, because that would be quite a hard pill to swallow, really. It's not something. Do you know how I say I like reading people's comments and I get a feel good, but I get the complete opposite. Actually, we were sort of forcing players back in the circumstances. Obviously, German football's hit a bit of a bump in the road to returning, haven't they? The whole Dresden squad have been put into quarantine for 2 weeks, so that's throwing the Bundesliga into chaos a little bit. It's still going ahead as today at the time, but I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that that's getting bunged back. And of course, we've got Bojo tonight, haven't we? Bodis is doing his announcement tonight as well. And Nathan Holland, this is a weird transfer rumour yesterday. Nathan Holland's been linked to a few clubs. Sheffield Wednesday seems to be the one that's consistently popping up for £1 million that West Ham are sort of having to cash in. They literally described it as cashing in on Nathan Holland for £1 million. It's supposed to be 2 million, but now it's £1 million because of what's going on in the world. That's a worry, isn't it? I don't really believe it, actually, to be honest. I don't believe it at all. I don't think we'd sell Nathan. But I think £1 million is a fair fee for him because, well, his experience so far is in League One, isn't it? So we've seen he can do it in League One. So he's at the standard. He is a prospect for a Premier League club or a good player in League One. That's what Nathan Holland is today. So I think £1 million for a player of that description is fair. But I wouldn't want to see us sell him for £1 million. I'd be very disappointed. But I can understand why the club are now looking at away from the first team. They've obviously got their players. Moyes will have his players. The board will have their players, and they'll be different. You know, the board will be hoping to move on one or two that Moyes is hoping to keep. Let's make no bones about that. But also Moyes will be hoping to move on a couple where the board are probably looking, we could probably keep him actually. If there's anyone a low earner but is on the fringes of the squad, or maybe their contract expires in a year's time, the board will be thinking it's fine, we can keep them for the year. And then they go for free, whereas Moyes might be wanting to cash in. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nathan Holland is someone that one of those, Moyes or the board, are looking at thinking, well, if we can get £1 million for a guy who isn't a first team player, we're doing all right, aren't we? It's cash flow now, and it's difficult times. You know that we know this. We know the transfer window is going to be like no other transfer window we've experienced. Certainly for myself. Bit younger than some of you. I'm a bit older than some of you as well, unfortunately. But this window is going to be crazy. We don't even know when the window is. If we're even getting a window, well, we will, but it's going to be a small one, isn't it? It's not going to be that long. So that'll be not interesting. The good thing is Holland's got his contract till 22, so he's got another 2 years. So we're not under pressure to sell him, which is good. And I expect to see him next season on the bench perhaps, or at a championship club on loan. So do not sell Nathan, but I don't think we will. I'm pretty calm about this one so far. But I guess the old thing is every player's got a price, haven't they? So what's Nathan Holland's price? I think £1 million fair, but hopefully it's not tempting to cash in. What we've got next, Scott Duxbury, Chief Executive of Watford, used to be at West Ham, left because Brady essentially stole his position, didn't she? It's just a different title. Scott Duxbury over at Watford, he's nailed his colours to the mast, and I like it. Just like I like the Crystal Palace one, he came out and nailed his colours to the mast, which is football needs to come back. We, Crystal Palace, we are ready. I like that. You don't necessarily have to agree with it, but I like the clarity, because what we are lacking at the minute around the Premier League and Project Restart is a clear plan. Now that's not necessarily the club's fault. That's not necessarily the Premier League's fault. That's journalists doing their job, which is put articles up, and there's a bit of guesswork going on. I think Sky Sports. There's a big difference, isn't there? When Sky Sports came out on Friday with the 5-man subs, which is fine. People, I didn't like that yesterday, but people cleared up the 5 subs. It makes sense. We basically need a pre-season. We're not going to have when we've got a lot of games in a short space of time. The 5 subs now makes sense. So we've got that, no VAR. But when Sky Sports announced that on Friday, it was very clear. It was very bullet points. This. That was it, right? There was no, we've heard this, we've heard that. It was very firm, very black and white. And I think we're missing that a lot with all the rumours that's going on and stuff. That's why Callum's article, while you don't agree with it, it can provide a little bit of an insight into what is actually going on. The one thing I don't agree with in her article, going back to that a second, was she said about how they can't have clubs turning on clubs turning on the league, leagues turning on clubs. They need unity. I don't think they're going to get that, and that's because of the Premier League. They're trying to force this neutral venue thing on people. And the Brighton chief executive, I think it was the Brighton chairman himself, basically said, we don't want to play at neutral venues. And Scott Duxbury's done the exact same. He's done an article, the club put it on their official website as well, and it was saying the same thing. And he made a very, very good example, which was Watford are the only side to have beat Liverpool this season in the league. We know that. But he basically said, in the build-up to that week, his manager and his coaches, analysis team, they had to get everything spot on. The crowd in the ground were spot on. Everything just went in their favour that one day. Absolutely everything in order to beat Liverpool. So no one else has managed it. But if you play at neutral venues, you're removing majority of those things that Watford needed that day. He obviously concedes that fans aren't going to be at the game, but he basically said, why would we not want to play our pitch, the way the grass is cut, the size of the pitch, the way that they can play on their own patch? Why would they not want all that? So it was good to see honesty. That's what I want, and I almost want to see West Ham's stance, I guess. It's getting a bit bitchy. It's got to be, though. It's got to be, because we're now getting forced. Fans of each club deserve to know what their club's stances are in order to this neutral venues thing. I think we can guess what West Ham's is, but Brady's column does not suggest that we're going to say no to neutral venues. It doesn't suggest we're going to say yes either. It's a bit murky. She also said about how club doctors are a bit pissed off at the minute because last week we found out that some of the club doctors had sort of raised their concerns with Project Restart, and it came out in the newspapers, and those club doctors are now a bit pissed off because it was anonymous feedback. The whole thing was that they got to feed it back to the Premier League, and that was that. It was behind closed doors thing, and that's been leaked, so they're a bit hacked off, understandably, because that's sort of, it's not divide and conquer, but it certainly causes fractures. If other club doctors agree with each other, disagree, you've then got arguments going on at all levels at a club. That's not what we need. And then the last thing I was going to discuss was it's a deal up to Spurs. That old rumour's back, in it. It's just a rumour, though. I think it's 2 and 2 together, and I think it's coming up with 4.5. I don't think it's quite 5. It's not that bad a rumour because we know Jose likes Diop. We know that. He literally went on the interview and said he's a monster. Well done, whoever found him. But I don't think Spurs need a centre back, to be honest with you. I think that's the last position they need. Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Tangana, Foyth, Sanchez. That's 5. Good centre. Dyer as well, I guess. The 6 centre backs they've got, they don't need another one. It's the last position they need to strengthen. They need another striker to play instead of Harry Kane when he's injured, because we saw last season what's happened when Kane got injured. They had to shoe in players up there, whether it's Dele Alli or Son or whatever. It doesn't quite work, does it? So I'm pretty chilled about that. Would I sell to Spurs? Yes, I would. Every player's got a price, ladies and gentlemen. It would be a bit more. I think Spurs would have to pay a penalty for being Spurs on top of what else you would sell for. But I think Diop or Anderson, I think one of them are going to have to go this summer, to be honest with you, in order to fund what David Moyes wants to do. I'd rather it was Anderson myself, but I could completely understand if they decided Diop was the one. There are some really good centre-backs in England, though. Really good centre-backs that, if you were to get a big fee, but then Leicester struggled, didn't they? Leicester got the 80 million for Harry Maguire, and now they obviously had Soyuncu there ready, but at the time they couldn't have been 100% certain he was going to step up. They were being linked to Lewis Dunk, Nathan Ake, and immediately, as soon as they got linked to those players, those clubs basically said, 80 million please, because we know you've got 80 million, we'll have 80 million. Mings was another one they were linked with, and Villa were wanting 60 million or something, because they all upped their price. It would be the same in West Ham. We were to receive 50 million for Diop, for example, and we were to go after one of those players, or even one of Burnley's ones, Ben Mee or whatever, they'd immediately hike their price up because we know you've got that cash. I think it's snowing. I'm sure it's snowing out my window right now. What the hell's going on? Crikey. It was really wet up here yesterday, actually. It was chucking down. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to the live chat for 5 minutes, have a little look, and then I'm going to go and drink my tea and have my pancake. Mark saying the bowling has great memories for him. He was a season ticket holder, a chief steward, and he had the honour of being the first supervisor in the new Upper West stand. Well, there you go. There's a man in the live chat with a little bit of history to a personal note to Upton Park. That's nice to know, Mark. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I noticed you didn't say anything about London Stadium, so I can only assume, that you didn't bother switching over to the new company that do that. Can't really blame you either. But yeah, I'll do that video. I'm going to do that video with Gonzo about Upton Park because it's quite a long one to do, really, isn't it? About our day, when we got there, what we done when we got there, and so on and so forth. I was lucky to get a ticket. I will say this. I remember I never had a season ticket that season, but I inquired about getting one. And I got the email from the club saying, oh yeah, there's a few available. I think it was £650. And I remember thinking, ooh. But I didn't go to the games that much because at that point, at this summer, I didn't know Gonzo. I didn't know anyone from Hammers Chat. It is actually snowing. What the hell is going on here? Welcome to Scotland, northeast of Scotland in particular. Welcome. Lovely and sunshine Thursday, Friday. Torrential downpour yesterday. And I have snow. I look warm. I'm sitting in my t-shirt nice and warm. Oh, I am warm. I'm not outside, but here we are, snow. Ridiculous. So yeah, I remember applying for the ticket, the match day ticket, because you had to go into the ballot for the last 3-4 home games, didn't you? I remember missing out on Swansea. I never got a Swansea one, but I got there. I got to go to the game, but it wasn't in my own name. But the last one, the Upton Park Day one, Man U one, that was a big one. And Arsenal was the one before Swansea that I applied for in the ballot, and I never got that either. And I thought, oh, come on, third time lucky. I remember someone messaged me saying, go on your ticketing account and check your history. He says, I've just gone on mine. He says, and I've been allocated one ticket for the Man U game. So I was like, all right, okay. So I went on mine. There it was, 2 tickets for the Man United game, because I had two memberships last year, Upton Park, because one for myself, and I used to use another one for people that never had season tickets, so that I could get 2 seats together. So often Charlie would get the extra ticket or whatever, and we would go. And so I had 2 memberships. I applied for a ticket on each membership, and I got 2 seats together. Last ever game, at the very back row, we were up here. But I remember seeing it, and I was at work, and I was like shaking. I was shaking with excitement. Going down. Actually, I'm going to keep all this for the video. Hammer 1999. Would Tarkowski be your replacement for Diop? Who would be a contender? I'm not going to lie. He's someone I've been extremely impressed by at Burnley. I think he gets more plaudits than Ben Mee. I don't think there's too much between them though. Saying that, I think because Tarkowski is the right-sided centre-back of the two, I'm pretty sure he is. That's why I would go for him, because we've got a Warner for the left, and I don't like it when we go by a sort of a left centre-back and play him right centre-back or something. It does interfere with people. Even though Winston Reid's a prime example, left centre-back but right-footed, he's used to playing left centre-back, so it's fine. You can get away with that. And I think we had that confusion with Diop, didn't we, initially, when he plays next to Balbuena, he switches over to the left, but when he plays with Albona, he switches back to the right, and it's a bit of a hassle for someone. Chills, here's a thought, maybe we play at neutral venues would help us because we are so poor at London Stadium. But the thing is, we know about Moyes' poor away record, but, pardon me, it's familiarity, and Carlton Cole have done about 4 tweets on Friday about it, saying okay, the crowd is a big loss, but it's the smells, the way the grass is cut, the size of your pitch, your changing rooms, everything. It's all about. It's almost like your cocoon, your safety net, isn't it? That's where you are at home. That's your hub. That's where you want to be. So when you remove that and you get put into a neutral venue, it makes me nervous. We need as much things as possible to go in our favour for this relegation battle. I am not confident at all. I am really not confident on surviving relegation when this gets back underway. I'm very 50-50. I was confident prior to this league breaking up because we were in a bit of form. We were ready to play a couple of teams at the right time. Now the big reset button's been pushed, and it's no longer about that. It's gone against us. I'm convinced nearly every fixture's got harder for us, bar 1 or 2. Even Villa and Watford, we were going to be playing them at home. The crowd would have helped, definitely. Against Southampton we saw it. The fans stepped up for the game against Southampton. We won well, played well, but it was a really good atmosphere, and I think we would have had that against Watford and Villa. I know the London Stadium's atmosphere gets knocked down quite a lot, and we are guilty of it as well, but it's just honesty. I generally don't enjoy it. Don't think the atmosphere is that good at the London Stadium. It rarely is. But when it is good, it's good, and I think we do get up for the important games there, and I think we would have done against Watford and Villa. So to take them away from home and go play them at neutral venues, they're huge games as well. I think it suits them more than it suits us. Let's put it like that way. Liam's watching the K League right now with a fake noise crowd. It's weird, but the intensity is pretty high for a game with no crowd, and players look like they're doing well. That's good. I've not watched one of the K League games. I know there's on Friday as well, and I know that they are pumping artificial crowd noise in, which seems like a really silly thing to do. It seems a bit weird, but at the same time, if it helps the players, great. I don't know if it will. You can only ask the players, only they can tell you. David's in Australia. Hello David. No sport being played there. Kent Hammers would go for Lewis Dunk or Joe Rodon. Joe Rodon's Gonzo's choice, definitely, and Lewis Dunk would cost a lot of money, though I do think he's sort of one of the best outside. Actually, I wish outside the top 6. Scrap that. He's one of the best in the league. He's just as good as many centre backs for Chelsea, I'd maybe pick Rudiger over him. I think Lewis Dunk would play alongside. I think he's better than Christensen. I think he's better than Zuma. I think he's better than Tomori. Arsenal, he would walk into that team. Man United, I think he'd be brilliant alongside Maguire, actually, them two together. Yeah, I think Lewis Dunk's one of the best in the league. So if you get him in, would I swap Lewis Dunk for Issa Diop? Question for you guys. Would you do a straight swap? Just straight swap? I think I would, you know. I think Issa Diop has potential to be better than Lewis Dunk. But I think Lewis Dunk's a better defender today. So the gamble is unlocking that potential. Will he do it? If so, then keep him. But if not, you've got to swap. So I would probably swap. Len Brown says his best memory of the cup final was him and his dad standing on the steps of Wembley about 430 p.m. All the time, sorry, about 4:30, with tears running down his faces, singing "We won the cup." He misses and loves his dad. Keep up the good work, lads. Bless you, Len. Thank you. At least you've got those memories. Cling on to those memories. Don't ever let go of them. Richard Mason. West Ham fans are shit, though. You moan like fuck. As if you're used to watching a good team. We do moan like fuck. But what football team don't? What football team fans don't moan like fuck? It's if they're doing well in the league, of course you don't moan that much. But if you're doing crap, of course you're going to moan. You pay a lot of money. You invested a lot, not just financially, time, emotions. Anyway, right, I'm going to bail because that's 20 minutes. I only wanted to do 20 minutes, so I'm going to bounce. But yeah, new series next Sunday. I'll see you next Sunday at 10 a.m. I might bring someone with me next Sunday. Depends on the news. We might have a Premier League to schedule almost a bit more. Instead of maybe coming back, I might have a date for the football return, so I'll pick the brains of someone, what their thoughts are and stuff. But yeah, thank you for joining us. If you want to know about our Patreon, stick around. I'm going to do that in a minute because I didn't want to do it during the video, and we need to sort of keep promoting it, but not keep promoting it. I'll explain in a minute. Drop a like on the video. Enjoy it, Scout you around here, and I'll see you next week. Right guys, I just told you about the Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/hammerschat, link is in the description below. We're going to go on about it for the first couple of weeks of the month because that's the best time to sign up. This way you get the best value. But myself and Gonzo are extremely confident in what we offer. From $3.50 a month, you can get access to our player ratings. Obviously, it's a bit null and void at the minute. But you get also a quarterly channel update video. You get 2 Patreon podcasts per month. Also, the podcast is open to all patrons to guest on. That's hosted by Charlie and Ray. And then we get a discount for any merchandise. $7 a month, you get access to the mug of tea with myself and Gonzo, which we do every month. And then up at the $14 one, you get all that as well as any early access to foreign player interviews. You get to ask any player interviews we do. You get to ask the players your questions, pilot shows, and random giveaways. We've got a massive giveaway coming up next week for every single patron. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I'll catch you in a bit.